It's spring, and we know flooding in this province. Living on a floodplain comes with its challenges, but many other parts of Canada deal with it too. The damage caused by overflowing waterways can cost billions of dollars a year. Now, a new report out today by the CSA Group suggests some potential solutions using the natural environment to help. Joining me now is the author, Joanna Eyquem. She's managing director of the Intact Centre on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo. Good morning.
Good morning.
How severe is the need to deal with flood risk in Canada?
So flooding is the costliest peril that we face in Canada in terms of natural hazards. And to give an indication, catastrophic losses in 2022 were $3.1 billion, which includes for flooding as well as some other events. But these costs are on the rise with climate change, but also with the historical degradation of nature. And that is only what was insured. So what governments and individuals are actually paying is about 3 to 4 times that. So the financial burden is significant. And that doesn't even factor in the impact that has on people's well-being in terms of stress and physical health. So, it's a severe problem we need to get on top of.
Your report talks about natural infrastructure or nature-based flood risk solutions. What exactly do you mean by that?
So flooding is a natural process. It's what rivers do, and in historical times, we've basically tried to control those processes using grey infrastructure solutions, kind of like dikes and flood walls and diversion channels, etc. What we aim to do with nature-based solutions is to basically work with natural processes rather than against them. So things like restoring wetlands, forests, river restoration to remeander, kind of straighten rivers. Basically, things that will slow down, soak up, and store water to reduce downstream flood risk, but in ways that nature is doing anyway. So the idea is we're seeing like a paradigm shift between control nature to work with nature.
How do these natural solutions compare to something built by humans, such as the Red River floodway that we have here to protect Winnipeg?
So built solutions are often kind of costly to maintain. I think that's one of the key differences, that when we're building grey infrastructure solutions, we are kind of tying ourselves to maintain those ad infinitum because they're going against what would naturally happen. So if we don't maintain them, I think in BC we saw catastrophic flooding that can happen if we don't maintain that infrastructure. And we're kind of fighting a losing battle. So the costs, the maintenance are not going to go down over time. With natural infrastructure, because we're trying to work with nature, the idea is that these solutions will be more self-sustaining and so less costly in the long term, but also delivering many more benefits. Like there's the flood risk benefit, but we can also think about carbon storage. We can think about biodiversity gains in terms of trying to meet our targets on the global biodiversity framework. But also benefits to people in terms of recreational opportunities and just contributing to making life better for people as well. So I think it's the overall package of benefits with nature-based solutions is so much bigger than grey solutions.
How prepared are Canadian provinces to deal with flood risk on a scale that's needed?
So the scale that's needed for river flooding is the watershed. And basically the report that we launched today looked at different approaches across different provinces in Canada. And what we note is that there's a vast difference in the approaches in different provinces. So we go from, for Ontario, where there's watershed organizations who have a legal mandate to look at both flood risk and nature conservation and land use planning all in kind of one-stop shop. To Atlantic provinces where actually that role is being done by non-governmental organizations, and often flood risk and nature are being dealt with by completely separate organizations, and that's kind of the case in Manitoba. Actually, it's the watershed districts are doing a lot of work on nature-based solutions, some really impressive programming, but the flood risk effort are being dealt with kind of the infrastructure. So there's a disconnect between flood risk and nature management.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me this morning.
Thank you so much.
Joanna Eyquem is Managing Director of the Intact Centre on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo.